52 degrees, a sheet of clouds covering the skies, and a bit of a consistent drizzle at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. Welcome in, everybody. Zach Linfield here with you to get you set for a midweek matchup between Michigan and IPFW. Michigan enters today dropping 3 of their last 4, including a Wednesday game against another Horizon League opponent last week in Oakland. Iowa came into the Fish over the weekend and took 2 of 3 in Michigan's Big Ten series of the season. The Wolverines simply could not get their bats going against the Hawkeyes, only scoring 7 total runs over the 3-game series. Iowa's pitching was superb throughout the weekend. Their Sunday starter, Ty Langenberg, did not allow a run through 7 innings and whiffed 11 different Michigan batters. Michigan had plenty of offensive opportunities, but ultimately could not capitalize. Well, that brings us to today's matchup between the Wolverines and the Mastodons of Indiana-Purdue Fort Wayne. The Mastodons are led by third-year skipper Doug Schreiber and sit at a struggling 4-22 mark here in 2022. The Maize and Blue, they enter at 14-13, looking to give themselves a bit of a cushion above that 500 even record. Michigan, they'll be sending Walker Cleveland, a 6'2 sophomore from Suwanee, Georgia, to the hill. Walker, a 1-1 record, a 6.61 ERA in 2022. He appears in his 11th game, but only 3rd as a starter, coming off of a nice outing against Iowa in the first game of the Saturday doubleheader. He had a line of 4 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and the 8-2 loss. IPFW starting Michael Maduro, the 6'6", 205-pounder, a graduate student from Munster, Indiana, with an 0-2 record and a 5.68 ERA. We'll get more about Michael when the Wolverines come to the plate in the bottom of the first. Just about ready for baseball here in Ann Arbor. Walker Cleveland, the tall lefty for the Wolverines. Let's get things started. First pitch is a roller towards the right side, gobbled up by Burton over at second, and the flip to Van Mortal at first. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the first inning as the shortstop Jarrett Bickel goes down for the Mastodons. A very aggressive team in the box. Let's get to the rest of the starting lineup. Jack Lang in the 2 spot, batting third, the lefty Ben Higgins. Kade Fitzpatrick playing defense behind the plate and batting cleanup. The first lefty, Garrett Lake, he bats 5th. Batting 6th, Isaiah Hart. Alex Evenson, Luke Miles, and Brian Irby to round things out. First pitch to Jack Lang is a ball outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0. That one misses a bit high. A fastball from Cleveland. The scoreboard out in right field seems to be powered down. The rain has been consistent all day. A steady downpour around 5:30 slowed down, and this one's belted in the left, sending the left fielder Rogers back to the track, the wall. That ball's gone. Jack Lang, the Mastodon third baseman, he has his 5th home run of the season, and it's an early 1-0 lead for IPFW. And that's big for a struggling team at 4-22 on the season. Walker Cleveland does not allow much power, only the 3rd home run he's allowed all season, over 17 innings pitched now. There is strike 1 to the 3-hole hitter Ben Higgins, a 241 average for him. He's 2nd in home runs on the team behind Kade Fitzpatrick, who's on deck right now. 1 ball and 1 strike now to the Mastodon left fielder. Quickly working is Walker. The 1-1 swung on and missed. A breaking ball on the outer part of the plate. Michigan on defense. Rogers in left, Stort in center. Elliott over in right. From left to right in the infield, Fry, Bertram, Burton, and Van Mortal. Right back up the middle to the second baseman, Burton on the backhand, and a flip over to first. And that's 2 retired here in the first inning. The leadoff man, Bickel, a ground out to the second baseman. The man in the 3rd spot, Ben Higgins, a ground out to the second baseman. But Jack Lang, the 2-hole hitter, a home run to left, gives IPFW an early 1-0 lead over the Wolverines at Ray Fisher. First pitch to the cleanup batter, Kade Fitzpatrick, is a bit outside. Ball 1. The 1-0. And it goes outside again to the second baseman. That's Burton, a jumping catch. And that will take us to the bottom of the first inning here in Ann Arbor. The score, IPFW 1, Michigan 0 after a Jack Lang solo shot to left here on BTN Plus and WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Welcome back in, everybody. Michigan on offense here in the bottom of the first inning. IPFW got things let off early with a solo shot by the two-hole hitter and Mastodon third baseman Jack Lang. Here is the Michigan starting lineup today. We'll start with the right fielder Clark Elliott, Joe Stewart, Ted Burton will bat third, Matt Fry will bat cleanup, the catcher Jimmy Obertop fifth, Riley Bertram, Tito Flores, Jack Vandermortel, and Jordan Rogers. Clark Elliott, a line drive right side and caught. Nice play going down to his knees as Evenson over at first. And Clark Elliott, in the second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, he was 0 for 4, and 3 of those outs came on the first pitch as well. So one gone here in the bottom of the first inning. The pitcher for IPFW is Michael Maduro, a 6'6", 205-pounder, a graduate student from Munster, Indiana. 0-2 record, a 5.68 ERA. He settles in from the windup in the pitch to the Michigan State transfer, Joe Stewart, in there for a strike. The tall 6'6" Maduro settles in for the 0-1, and this one sliced down the right field line, heading towards foul territory, and Hart runs out of room. But ahead early in the count is Maduro, the transfer from South Suburban College in Illinois, a career mark of 0-4 over 3 seasons of collegiate baseball. Stewart has seen his average jump up and down now for the last 2 series. It's at .319, couple of homers with 3, 18 ribbies. Here's the 0-2. And that one's popped out of play as well, back towards the parking lot. Righty against righty matchup. Maduro into his windup to Stewart. Curveball that's popped in the air straight behind home plate. Fitzpatrick has a chance at it, and he ran out of room by about 10 steps. So we'll sit at 0-2 again. The men in black this afternoon behind home plate, Nathan Thompson. At first base, James Mullick. Second base, Perry Costello. And at third base is Thomas Newport. No balls and 2 strikes to Michigan's everyday center fielder, Joe Stewart. A bump up to the 2 spot in the order today. And there's ball 1 outside. Maduro with his size, he's reaching back for that fastball. That one almost hit 90. First ball that he's thrown. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Stewart. He went back to the fastball, and this one's just chopped out of play. Off the end of the bat for Stewart. Now fouled away 2 to stay alive in this AB. 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning in Ann Arbor. IPFW a 1-0 lead over the Wolverines, looking for just their 5th win of the season. And there's ball 2. Went with the breaking ball away, and the catcher Fitzpatrick had to slide into the left-handed batter's box to go and grab it. Maduro works much slower than Cleveland for the Wolverines. And this one's shot right back up the middle. A base hit for Joe Stewart. And Michigan will have a runner on with 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning for Ted Burton. Typically will bat second for the Wolverines, a .270 average. He now bats in the 3 spot. So Joe Stewart goes from 5th to 2nd. Ted Burton goes 2nd to 3rd. Matt Fry goes 3rd to 4th. And Jimmy Obertop drops from 4th to 5th. Michigan bats were extremely quiet against Iowa, albeit they had their opportunities to score runs. Only scored 7 across the weekend. Joe Stewart running. He had a really nice jump down to 2nd, and he is safe. The throw from Fitzpatrick is not in time, and Joe Stewart will take a base away from Michael Maduro. He's now 7 for 8 on stolen base attempts. Michigan a runner in scoring position for the 3-hole hitter today, Ted Burton. That pitch was outside for a ball. Burton bats .257 with runners in scoring position. Maduro's 1-0. Ball outside, and Joe Stewart, he'll decide to take third base now as the breaking ball bounced in front of the catcher Fitzpatrick and got away from him. Michigan now has a runner at third base. Defensive alignment for IPFW. In left field, Higgins. Lake is in center. Hart is over in right. Laying at third, Bickel shortstop. Irby is at second base. Evenson at first. And Fitzpatrick is behind the plate. Made a couple of nice stops now, but had that ball skip away from him, and Ted Burton is now ahead 2-0 against Maduro, the pitcher for IPFW. And he'll chop one foul. That's strike 1. A single for Stewart, a stolen base, and then a wild pitch has advanced him over to third. Defense for IPFW playing deep. Ted Burton 7 homers. 312 in left, 395 straightaway center, and 320 over in right. Maduro has a chopper over to the right side. This will score the run. Burton is retired at first, but we have a tie ball game here in Ann Arbor. 1-1 RBI. Fielder's choice to Ted Burton.
Third baseman number 24, Matt Fry.
So here is Matt Fry. We now have an even game. Maduro back to the windup, into his motion, and sees a ball about half a ball's width outside the strike zone. Home plate umpire Nathan Thompson wants it just a bit closer. Good attempt at a frame job by the catcher Fitzpatrick. Here is the 1-0 to Matt Fry. Same exact spot, just a little outside. As I mentioned, not great numbers for Maduro. 0-2, a 5.68 ERA. Here's the 2-0. And this one's popped up. Out of play, though. And Matt Fry will settle back into that left-handed batter's box. Well, Maduro, 5 appearances so far in 2022, with 2 2/3 innings being the longest that he's thrown. He's only topped at 44 pitches thrown in a Mastodon's uniform. And Fry will lift this one into right. That sends Hart back to the track in the wall, and he lost himself a bit, but comes on to make the catch. He almost did a full 360 spin to make the catch on Fry, and that's out number 3. The Wolverines, they knot up the game here in the bottom of the first inning on a Ted Burton sacrifice ground out to the second baseman, and then Matt Fry flies out to end the inning. 1-1 score here in Ann Arbor. We head to the top of the second on WCBN and BTN+. We're back in Ann Arbor for the top of the second inning between Michigan and Purdue Fort Wayne. 1-1 ball game after the first. Both teams tallying just a solo run. Mastodons got theirs on a Jack Lang homer to left field, and Michigan, Joe Stort making his way around the bases with a stolen base and a wild pitch after a single right back up the middle. And Garrett Lake got things started off here for the Mastodons in the second inning. He's behind 0-2 after 2 foul balls. Five, 6, and 7 for Purdue Fort Wayne. Michigan into the shift. Matt Fry playing right between shortstop and third base for the Wolverines. There's ball 1 as Cleveland missed high. Van Remortel, Burton, and Bertram are all over on the first base, second base side. There's a sharp ground ball, foul off the bat of Lake. The Mastodon center fielder bats .237 on the season, a pair of homers. He'll certainly look to be more patient at the plate. 31 strikeouts to 11 walks. There's the 1-2, and there is strikeout number 32 on the season for Lake. Walker Cleveland's first K of the game, the first overall strikeout between Purdue Fort Wayne and Michigan, and that'll bring up Isaiah Hart.
Batting 6, the right fielder, number 25, Isaiah Hart.
Just strikeout number 11 for Walker Cleveland through 17 2/3 innings pitched now. He lines one towards a shortstop, Bertram, and that gets under the glove. And Jordan Rogers will have to retreat into center field to make the play. A nice slap off the bat by Isaiah Hart, and Purdue Fort Wayne's got a runner on. That will go down as an error against Riley Bertram, the Wolverine shortstop. Now I'm sure Isaiah Hart would love that to be a base hit. His average only at 165. It's a veteran lineup for Purdue Fort Wayne. There's Alex Evenson. First pitch to him is a bit low from Cleveland. One out here in the top of the second inning. Shift still being employed. Matt Fry still the lone wolf on the left side of the infield for the Wolverines. Here's the 1-0. Misses low and outside again. As I mentioned, a veteran lineup for Purdue Fort Wayne. Every athlete from 1 to 7 is either a junior or senior than the final two. Miles, a freshman, and Irby, a sophomore. The 2-0. Almost curves into the strike zone. That's 3 straight balls now from Walker Cleveland. It's also a righty-dominant lineup for Purdue-Fort Wayne. Here's a 3-0. And that one's right down the middle. All for the taking for Evenson if he wanted it, but decided to lay off. 3-1 now. The first lefty in the order is in the 5 hole. That's Garrett Lake. He struck out to begin the inning. The 3-1 is just a bit high. So now 2 runners on for Purdue-Fort Wayne to begin the second inning following the strikeout. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Luke Miles. A hit in every 4 plate appearances for the righty. Not too much action for him. Only his 15th game played and 5th game started. First pitch to him is raised into left. Playable for Jordan Rogers. Runner tags at second base, Isaiah Hart, and he will not challenge the arm of Rogers, who had a bullet of a throw into the cutoff man, Bertram. 2 gone now for the 9-hole hitter, Brian Irby.
Second baseman, number 12, Brian Irby.
And despite batting in the 9-hole, his average is second highest out of the starting 9 today. The highest in the order is Kade Fitzpatrick, batting a really high 386. First pitch from Cleveland popped up. Being called off is the shortstop Bertram Burton under it, and he comes into shortstop territory to make the catch. That's 3 outs in the top of the second inning. Purdue-Fort Wayne, they strand 2. Walker Cleveland, a good job getting the final 2 outs there in the inning. The score 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the second at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor.
Leading off the bottom of the second inning for Michigan, the 5th man, catcher.
Welcome back in, everybody. Michigan in the bottom of the second inning. To get things started off, it's the catcher, Jimmy Obertop. And he'll look to improve from his 0-for-4 Sunday performance with 4 strikeouts, 2 of them being looking. He'll face off against a tall righty, Michael Maduro. First pitch swinging, fouled, back out of play. 1-1 ball game. Purdue-Fort Wayne stranded 2 in the top of the second inning. The 0-1 to Obertop. Nice pitch, outer corner for a strike. 72 on the gun. Beautiful breaking ball from Maduro. Changing up speeds very nicely. Fastball around 90. That curveball there at about 72. Here's the 0-2 to Obertop. That one's well outside. He went back to the well, but missed badly with it. Fitzpatrick slid into the opposing batter's box. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Wolverine catcher. Swung on and missed. That's now 5 consecutive strikeouts for Jimmy Obertop. He'll look to get things turned around in his next AB, but that'll bring up Riley Bertram, the Wolverine shortstop, who was tabbed with an error on defense in the top of the second inning. first strikeout for Michael Maduro. The third baseman, Jack Lang, potentially expecting bunt from Bertram as he plays in on the grass. First pitch is in there for a strike. Another beautiful breaking ball. And Maduro, with his length and size, seems like he's just reaching towards home plate and flipping it over for a strike. There's another nice pitch, another breaking ball. 0-2 now to Riley Bertram. Bertram bats over 300, tabbed at 306. Only one homer on the year, not much power off the bat of Riley. There's a ball outside. Now 4 consecutive breaking balls thrown from Maduro, perhaps ramping it up here on the 1-2. On deck is the designated hitter Tito Flores, and he does go to the fastball. This one's high and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bertram is a patient batter, 12 walks on the year. The 2-2. Another breaking ball, but fouled back to the screen. Good life from Bertram. And I mentioned Purdue Fort Wayne having a veteran lineup. Michigan does as well. No one under junior status in the lineup today for Michigan. 2 graduates. Lots of juniors and seniors. The 2-2 fouled away to the screen again. And that straight sheet of clouds beginning to part its way over the big house in right field and Chrysler Center in center field. Here's the 2-2 again. Lifted in the air, right field. Should be playable for Hart. That's a towering fly ball, and he shuffles his way over to make the catch. That's 2 gone here in the second. That'll bring up Tito Flores for the Wolverines. Tito, the 6-foot righty, junior from Brother Rice High School, hometown Detroit. And he takes ball 1. Tito, a .262 average, tied for the team leader in homers at 7. The check down to the first base umpire, James Mullick. He calls it a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tito. Had 2 hits in 10 attempts at the plate against the Hawkeyes over the weekend. Here's the 1-1. That one misses low and outside. Back to the curveball again for Maduro. Flores has slowly found his way down in the lineup as he's now in the 7 hole, the Wolverine designated hitter. Here's a 2-1. There's a sharp ground ball left side past the diving Lang and into left. There's a 2-out base knock for Tito Flores, and that'll bring up Jack Van Mortal for the Wolverines.
First baseman number 51, Jack Van Mortal.
Remember, Van Mortal had that 25-day layoff between injury and return. Last game he played in before injuring himself was against East Carolina on March 5th as he sees ball 1 outside. And then he returned against Oakland for a 2-for-4 performance. In that game against ECU, he was 0 for 3. But since that game against Oakland a short week ago where he went 2 for 4, he went hitless against the Hawkeyes. A total of 0 for 8. From the stretch, Maduro for the 1-0. Not a long lead for Flores as he checks over to first. Van Mortal still eyeing for that first homer of the season. The big-bodied first baseman, 6'2", 215, senior from Carmel, Indiana. He sees ball 2 inside, almost scrapes past the shoelaces. And Jack will still wait for his pitch to hit. 1-1 ball game here in the bottom of the second inning from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. Both on student radio WCBN and BTN Plus. Starting to become a really nice afternoon for baseball on this still pretty chilly Wednesday. And there's ball 3 high and in to Vandermortel. Would have done anything to have the weather that we had yesterday in Ann Arbor. It was almost 60 degrees. Students wearing shorts outside, enjoying the weather. And then rain all day today, but it looks like it'll hold off for the rest of the afternoon so we can get this ball game in. Here's the 3-0. Just clips the outer part of the plate. 3 balls and 1 strike. Vandermortel the batter, and Michael Maduro the pitcher for Purdue Fort Wayne. As they will quickly send a new arm down to the bullpen as they'll go get ready. Here is the 3-1. Fouled back to the screen. That'll fill up the count at 3-2. Maduro will look to strand the Wolverines' designated hitter Tito Flores over at first base as Flores gets the day off from playing in the field. Jordan Rogers takes over in left. Mastodon defenders in the outfield playing deep. It's only 3-12 in left, but there's that big brick wall. There's a check over to first base. Flores back in safely. Maduro, over his 5 appearances in 2022, as I mentioned, only 44 pitches thrown. The Mastodons, they have not won a game that Maduro has thrown in. They've been outscored 57-17 in those games. Here's the 3-2 to Vandermortel. Flores on the move, and that one's lined into right center. Potential to score for Flores. He'll be sent home. Vandermortel will head his way to second, and Flores will glide home. He scores easily from first base. Vandermortel, RBI number 6 on the season. Wolverines have their first lead.
The left fielder, number 18, Jordan Rogers.
The first extra base hit between the two squads here today. Here's Jordan Rogers, the Wolverine left fielder. Maduro will attempt to settle back in now. Scores 2-1 here in Ann Arbor. First pitch to Rogers is a bit up and in. Back to Rogers out of the way. Rogers, the redshirt junior from Chicago. He attended Simeon Academy for high school. Looking to get some more action under his belt. Only the 9th game that he started in this year for the Wolverines and Eric Bakich. The 1-0 will take Fitzpatrick out of his crouch. And Purdue Fort Wayne looking for their 5th victory on the season. Michigan looking for their 15th. Rogers' average currently sitting at 206, looking to improve upon that. The 2-0. And that backs Rogers out of the way again. Maduro's walked 7 on the season, only struck out 5. Rogers looking to force that number up to 8 for Maduro as he will fake a quick throw back to the runner on second base, Vandermortel. And big old Jack Vandermortel, not much of a threat to steal. Here's the 3-0. Right down the middle, exactly what you need if you're Maduro to try and get back in this count. Michigan in the maize uniforms today with the blue numbering and the white pants. Purdue Fort Wayne in the all grays with mastodons across the chest. Into the stretch is Maduro. The 3-1. Swung on and fouled back to the screen. And the brick wall behind home plate is the home plate umpire Nathan Thompson will go and retrieve that ball. Full count now to the Wolverine left fielder today, Jordan Rogers. The also versatile Clark Elliott on deck for the Wolverines, a .349 batter. He lined out to the first baseman, Evenson, in the first inning. Would have been 2, perhaps 3 bases. Here's the 3-2 to Rogers. That's lifted into left center. That'll get down. Vanner Mortal coming around third. He'll score standing up. And the Wolverines, they've taken a 3-1 lead here in the second inning. RBI number 7 for Jordan Rogers.
Going to number 15, Hart Elliott.
So just like that, the bottom of the order for the Wolverines getting things done. A single by Flores out of the 7-hole. The 8-hole Jack Vanner Mortal, a double. And then a single by Jordan Rogers. And here will be a mound visit to Michael Maduro. As Doug Schreiber will go and have a chat with him, and Maduro will exit. We'll have the first relief pitcher of the afternoon enter the game. Michigan leads it 3-1 here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. We'll take a quick break and get you the new pitcher as soon as we come back. We welcome back our double audience back into Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Score 3-1. Wolverines have the advantage over Purdue Fort Wayne. WCBN student radio for the University of Michigan and BTN Plus as well. We have a new pitcher in the game. The first relief arm from the Mastodons is Jacob Meyer, an 8.84 ERA. Certainly looking to improve upon that record at 0-4 on the season. Meyer, 6'4" lefty, 205-pounder from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and transfer from Iowa Lakes Community College. And a warm welcome to the mound. He's got to face off against Michigan's best bat, Clark Elliott. Lined out to the first baseman, Evenson, in his first debut. The first pitch, low and outside. From first glance, just a bit shy of the velocity the fastball Michael Maduro was tossing into the strike zone. Seems like 85 to 87 for Meyer. Jordan Rogers causing a bit of havoc over at first base. Clark Elliott ahead 2-0 now as that slider, it looked like, popped outside. Meyer comes in to close situations sometimes for Purdue Fort Wayne. He has 2 saves on the season, 19 1/3 innings pitched, 28 hits, 19 earned runs. The runner goes, Jordan Rogers, swing and miss from Clark Elliott, and Rogers is safe down at second base, and perhaps a help from the turf to get him in there. And remember, the turf here today is very soaking wet. It rained all day in Ann Arbor, as all of a sudden the sun says hello for the first time. Second stolen base for Wolverine runners today. Joe Stewart took one in the first inning. He ended up coming around to score on a sacrifice ground out by Ted Burton. Joe Stewart currently in the on-deck circle. 3 balls and 1 strike. Clark Elliott, well done to help his runner Jordan Rogers get to second base. 2 balls and 1 strike. Meyer against Elliott. Breaking ball missed low. Clark does have 18 walks on the season compared to his 25 strikeouts. Shadows not playing a factor. Sun over in right field in foul territory. There is the 3-1 from the lefty. And that's lined towards the shortstop, Bickel. Eagle swoop, throws over to first base for Evenson, and that will end the Wolverine threat in the bottom of the second inning. Michigan does get 2 to take the lead. It's now 3-1 as we head to the top of the third at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor on WCBN and BTN+. One, 2, and 3 to get us started for Purdue Fort Wayne. In the top of the third inning, Walker Cleveland back to the hill for Michigan as Jarrett Bickel swings and misses at breaking ball for strike 1. Wolverines took their first lead of the afternoon. It's now 3-1 in the bottom of the second. Second pitch is probably a changeup from Cleveland that is high and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike for Bickel. Cleveland continues to work fast. There's a foul ball back to the screen, teetering towards the right field side. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, an earned run that was a homer by the man on deck, Jack Lang, for Cleveland. 1-2 is skied into right into the sun from my perspective, and it is foul. That makes its way over into the parking lot and bounces twice off of Suburban. Cleveland's 1-2 to Bickel. Line drive left side, eats up Fry. Fry has got to get it quick over to first, and he beats the speedy Bickel. Matt Fry, that's exactly why you call it the hot corner, young man. Nice play and a nice throw over to the first baseman, Jack Vandermortel. And it was a close play over at first, but 1 gone, and here's the man that bombed a home run to left center field over the head of Jordan Rogers, Jack Lang. Curveball was left well high, and well, Matt Fry was playing real deep at his third base position, and scoring to bunt was Lang. Here's the 1-0. Clips the outer part of the plate. Well done by Jimmy Obertop to keep that ball steady, to have Nathan Thompson call it for a strike. And Lang, he lost his bat back towards the Michigan dugout. That's strike 2 as it was fouled off. And he will apologize to the Michigan dugout as he slowly walks over. He'll take his time. 1 ball and 2 strikes as Walker Cleveland stares in. Cleveland works exclusively from the stretch, not a windup for Walker. Here's the 1-2. Line drive towards the right side. Eat up. Nice play by Burton and a quick throw over to first. There's 2 retired. That was kind of a please not me play and a look what I found from Ted Burton over at second, as he just did a little hop and made a nice play. There's the 3-hole hitter, Ben Higgins. He looks at ball 1 from Cleveland. One ball and no strikes. And that ball misses a bit high and outside from Cleveland as well. After working very quickly on the first 2 pitches, he'll take a breath and then get right back into it. The 2-0, chopped foul. Two balls and 1 strike to Higgins. .239 average. As I mentioned earlier, 5 homers. He takes ball 3. That one was real close. Probably half a ball's width to maybe a full ball's width off the plate. Obertop tried his best to bring it back into the strike zone. Here's the 3-1. Line drive towards the shortstop, Bertram. He eats it up on 1 hop and a throw over to first. So the third baseman, the second baseman, and shortstop all get some action in the top of the 3rd inning. Scoreless goes Purdue-Fort Wayne. The score is now Michigan 3, Purdue-Fort Wayne 1 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. And perhaps another inning for Meyer out of the pen. We head to the bottom of the 3rd, WCBN and BTN+. 2, 3, and 4 for the Wolverines. It's Joe Stort, Ted Burton, and Matt Fry. And they'll face off against the reliever for Purdue-Fort Wayne and Jacob Meyer. The top of the 3rd saw our first 1-2-3 inning of today's game. Walker Cleveland doing a nice job disposing of 3 Mastodons. And Joe Stort, who scored the game's 2nd run, the first for the Wolverines, leads us off. First pitch is a curveball from the lefty and in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes to Stewart. Average rose after his base hit in the 1st inning to .325. Michigan lineup with plenty of averages above 300. And he shoots one towards the right side off the diving glove of Irby, and safe over at first is Joe Stort. So this will all depend on the scorebook. What would they call this, an error or a base hit for Stort? Michigan had 3 4 hits coming into this inning, and that now is marked as the 5th. So 2 for 2 now is Joe Stewart. He'll mark it as a hit as Irby just had it kick off the edge of his glove. He tried to snow cone grab it while on the ground. It would have been a tough throw over to first as he was pretty much shading the second base side. And now here's Ted Burton. Meyer will settle in from the left side of the rubber, and he'll check over to Stewart at first base. He stole a bag in the first and then advanced to third base on a wild pitch. Eventually ended up scoring on Ted Burton's sacrifice ground out to the second baseman. And he'll check over a second time. Plenty of appearances on the year for Meyer. In his last, that was on April 3rd, just 3 days ago against Wright State. 2 innings pitched, allowed 1 hit, 1 earned run, struck out 2, no walks. First pitch to Burton is high and outside, ball 1. Burton settles back into that right-handed batter's box. Hand sits right around the ear, swirls that bat in a circular motion, the 1-0. He raises this one into right center. That sends Hart into a scurry, and he will make the catch. And now having to return all the way back to first base is Stewart. It's a long relay, and the throw is not in time. And Stewart certainly thought that was going to get down for extra bases. He even touched second base, so he had to make sure to touch it on the way back as well. So nice IQ by Joe Stewart to get back to first base, but a nice running play by Isaiah Hart in right field to make the grab. 1 gone for Michigan in the bottom of the 3rd. In this left center field, right center field gap and Ray Fisher Stadium, those are deep parts of the park, and Mastodon defenders are playing really deep. Even for Matt Fry, who has 5 homers on the season, he digs in and sees strike 1. As Meyer comes set for the 0-1. Decent lead over at first for Stewart as he's running. And this is a little floater in the left, and that will be caught by the left fielder Higgins. And he'll throw all the way back to first base, but it's cut off by the second baseman Irby. And now 2 outs for Jimmy Obertop, the Wolverine catcher.
Right catcher, number 8, Jimmy Obertop.
Obertop looking to correct his strikeout woes. He struck out in 5 straight plate appearances. The junior from St. Louis. Got a lot of power in his bat. 4 homers on the season. There's strike 1, backdoor breaking ball against Obertop. Lefty versus righty. Obertop's average still at a great .317, although was higher going into the Iowa series. Stewart still over at first. He'll be checked on by the pitcher Meyer. 8 for 9 in stolen bases is Stewart. Remember, he was running on that fly out by Ted Burton. Now there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. Michigan holding a 3-1 lead over Purdue Fort Wayne. Just a solo midweek matchup between the two. Stewart is running. Ground ball left side and foul. And Pojor Stewart running out of breath as he'll take a slow jog back to first. He's been on the run a couple of times now, and he got a nice jump on the lefty Meyer. Lefties, they are certainly hard to read when you're trying to steal a base over at first. That sun is really coming on strong now in foul territory down the right field line. No balls and 2 strikes to the Wolverine catcher. Meyer looking for his first strikeout. That one misses badly high and outside. 87-mile-an-hour fastball, though, for Meyer. He says, my bad, to the catcher Fitzpatrick. He was quick out of his crouch to keep Stewart over at first. Here comes the 1-2. Swung on and missed. That's now 6 straight strikeouts for Jimmy Obertop. And he will look to correct that when he comes up for his third AB the next time that he's up. Michigan has a 3-1 lead over Purdue Fort Wayne here in Ann Arbor. Walker Cleveland back to the hill for the Wolverines. We'll be right back with you from Ray Fisher Stadium.
Leading off the top of the fourth inning for Purdue Fort Wayne. Catcher.
We're in the top of the fourth inning as Walker Cleveland settles back in for the Wolverines. And he tosses ball 1 to Kade Fitzpatrick. The Mastodon catcher is now ahead 1-0. 0 for 1 today. His season average, man, it's at 380. There's ball 2 from Cleveland. 71 at-bats, 27 hits. Strikeouts are a bit of an issue compared to his walks. He struck out 21 times to 7 walks. He's now ahead of Cleveland. 3 balls and no strikes. Lots of power in the bat. 6 homers as Cleveland just grooves one right down Broadway. 3-1. Almost halfway through the second time in the order for Purdue Fort Wayne. There's ball 4. And the second base on balls issued by Walker Cleveland. Michigan does have some action down in their own bullpen. So here is Garrett Lake, the center fielder. He struck out in his first AB, the only strikeout for Wolverine pitching. Cleveland settles into a stretch. Scoring to bunt is Lake, and it's popped up. Cleveland makes the catch, and 1 gone in the 4th. And for Purdue Fort Wayne to have a chance in this game, that's something they can't afford, is laying down a bunt and having it just be popped right back up to the pitcher. Now 3 1/3 innings pitched for Walker Cleveland. He's had a good outing so far. His high on the season is 4 1/3. And that came just this past weekend against Iowa. Here was the first pitch to Isaiah Hart. He reached on a single in the second inning. It was in the dirt, 1-0. Short lead off at first for Fitzpatrick. A long stare over by Cleveland. And he tosses a ball, number 2. Hart hit a really sharp ground ball towards the shortstop Bertram in the second. Ended up as an error. Here's a 3-0 count now as Obertop will have a quick conversation with his lefty Walker Cleveland. Isaiah Hart on the season, now starting his 23rd game. Hits in 13 of his 79 plate appearances as Obertop returns to his catcher's position. Here's the 3-0. That one misses outside. It's a 4-pitch walk for Isaiah Hart. Runners now on first and second with just one out for Alex Evenson, the first baseman.
First baseman number 7, Alex Evenson.
2 walks now in the inning, 3 overall in the game for Cleveland. Issued walks number 14 and 15 of the season. Evenson takes a long swing. Seemed like he didn't even move his feet for strike 1. He had the first walk of the game for the Mastodons. In the second, he ended up being stranded at first. And there's a swing and miss number 2. So Cleveland, after being behind 3-0 to the leadoff man Fitzpatrick, 3-0 to the third man in the inning, Isaiah Hart, he's ahead 0-2 to Alex Evenson. And this one's popped up, left side of the infield, playable for Fry. And he makes the catch. So the infield fly is out number 2 of the inning. And here is Luke Miles with runners at first and second base. Both outs in the inning coming by way of the pop-up for Michigan defense. And there is strike 1. Nice pitch from Walker Cleveland to Luke Miles. Miles only 3 RBIs on the season, looking to add to that tally here. The 0-1 is fouled away. Not too many plate appearances for the Mastodon designated hitter, 25 ABs on the year. But in his limited chances with runners in scoring position, he bats .500. Slight breeze, but the sun is all but out right now. Cleveland misses outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So well done by Cleveland. 2 of the first 3 batters in this inning saw a 3-0 count to begin their AB. Now the next 2 have seen 0-2. Here's the 1-2. Chopper towards the left side. This is Fry, and it beats him under his glove. The bases will now be loaded, and that should be an error against the Michigan third baseman, Matt Fry. Now here's the second baseman, Brian Irby. And that actually will go down as a hit.
Second baseman number 12, Brian Irby.
Would have been a tough play regardless. It was a Baltimore chop, a ball that lands right in front of home plate and takes a high bounce towards an infielder. So now bases loaded. Fitzpatrick at third, Hart at second, and Miles at first. Irby looks at ball 1, just a bit off the plate for Walker Cleveland. Irby just shy of 300, 298. He checks his swing, but did not go. It's 2 balls and no strikes as Obertop had to slide into the left-handed batter's box. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Michigan leads 3-1. There is ball 3. Michigan pen quickly getting going. Jake Keyser is the arm getting warm for the Maize and Blue. 3 balls and no strikes to Irby. The delivery from Cleveland. Right down the middle, strike 1. Cleveland comes set. Delivers a 3-1. Just off the plate, ball 4, and it's an RBI walk. As Cleveland walks one home. Score is now 3-2 Michigan.
Shortstop number 9.
And Eric Bakich, he will quickly make his way up the stairs. After a bit of a pause, Cleveland was already on the rubber, had to step off, and usually when Eric Bakich heads out to the mound, it is time for a pitching change. With 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning, the Mastodons, they have the bases loaded. Jake Keyser to come on for the Wolverines and try and get them out of the jam and maintain this lead. 3-2 was the score from Ann Arbor. We'll be right back for Jake Kieser. Michigan calls on the 6'1", 195-pound freshman from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Jake Kieser. Hometown Rochester, Michigan, to face off against the leadoff batter, Jarrett Bickel, with the bases loaded, and he flies one in the left. On the run is Rogers, back towards the wall, and it hits the wall. Extra bases for Bickel. That'll send the leading run home, and the shortstop Bertram cannot get the throw in time. 3-run score. And all of a sudden, Purdue Fort Wayne takes a 5-3 lead here in Ann Arbor. One pitch from Kieser and a 3 RBI double for Jarrett Bickel has put the Mastodons in front of the Wolverines here in the top of the 4th inning. Well, here's Jack Lang. He homered in the 1st inning. First pitch from Kieser is a nice slider that bends across the strike zone. Kieser entered on Saturday against Iowa in that first game of the doubleheader. He allowed a hit and a walk before being pulled. He also had a wild pitch in that appearance. There's strike 2. He's ahead of the 2-hole hitter and the third baseman for Purdue Fort Wayne, Jack Lang. Kieser comes set with a no-ball, 2-strike pitch. Checked his swing. Did he go? No, he did not. One and two now to Lang. Michigan only 1-6 in games where Kieser has thrown this season. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Kieser limits the damage, although allowing a 3-run double on his first pitch out of the bullpen. Purdue Fort Wayne takes a 5-3 lead here in Ann Arbor. The Wolverines have some work to do. We've got a great one in front of us. 5-3 Purdue Fort Wayne over Michigan from Ray Fisher Stadium. third arm used on the day for Purdue Fort Wayne. Brendan Reed is being called on, the 5'11", 200-pound senior from Union, Kentucky. Lots of JUCO Community College transfers on this Mastodon squad. Frontier Community College was Reed's former home, and he faces off against the Wolverines' Riley Bertram to begin the bottom of the fourth inning. Called strike one on the outer part. Here is the 0-1 to Bertram. Just a bit high and outside. He slowed that one down, 74 miles an hour. Reed without a decision, 9.90 on the ERA. Here's the 1-1. Line drive right side towards the first baseman. That's Evenson making a nice play, and he scampers over to first base to get out number one of the inning.
Number 22, Tito Flores.
Well, here's the dangerous part of the order for the Wolverines. It's 7, 8, and 9. Flores, he singled, Vandermortel doubled, and Rogers singled in their first time around the order. They are responsible for the 2 runs that the Wolverines put up in the bottom of the second inning. Well, they trail 5-3. And there's ball 1 to Tito Flores. 4 runs put up in the fourth inning. The Mastodons almost bat all the way around. 4 runs, 2 hits, 1 left on base for Purdue Fort Wayne. Flores gets a hold of one right up the middle, and it bounces in front of the center fielder, Lake. And Tito Flores is now 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Flores has gotten shuffled around the order a few times now, but that 7-hole, that may fit him well if the Wolverines' first 6 can get themselves on base throughout the rest of this ball game. And Flores, man, does he hit the ball hard. Anywhere across the park, that was at 97 on the exit below. Just a line drive up the middle that smacked right in the middle of the block M in center field. First pitch to Vandermortel. He had to shift his knees out of the way. The shadows now are playing a part from the big house and the field house over in right field. Shading half of right field and about a quarter of center. The right fielder Hart stands deep in right. Vandermortel, he'll take ball number 2 on the inside half of the plate. He doubled back in the second inning, which scored Flores all the way from first. Mastodon defenders play relatively deep. And center fielder Lake plays at about, we'll call it 365 for the 395 center field wall. And there's strike 1. Vandermortel with a quick doubt on the call. Michigan's dugout on the third base side to give you a better idea. Vandermortel's whole shadow almost reaching into the dugout. A hit in every 4 plate appearances now for Vandermortel. There's a quick throw over to first to check on Flores from Reed. Back in very safe is Flores. Vandermortel can somehow pop one down the right field line. There is a lot of space. The right fielder Hart playing pretty much in right center field against Vandermortel. The 2-1, man, this is a line drive into left to Higgins, and it's off the wall. Flores will have to stop at second. That ball was hit so hard. And I just talked about Tito Flores and his power, and all of a sudden Jack Vandermortel just puts up 101 on the exit velocity, and now with 1 out in the bottom of the fourth, the Wolverines are threatening for Jordan Rogers.
Left fielder, number 18, Jordan Rogers.
Well, I made that joke about the Wolverines' 7 through 9 batters doing a lot of the damage. Maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe it was the full-on truth. As now 7, 8, and 9 for the Wolverines. They are 5 for 5 with 1 extra base hit. And here's Jordan Rogers. He singled in the first, eventually stole a bag, and was stranded at second base. He scored Vandermortel on his single. First pitch from Reed is inside. 1 ball, no strikes to the Wolverine left fielder today, Jordan Rogers. Rogers, he can pretty much be listed as a utility player for Eric Bakich in the maize and blue. Can play anywhere in the outfield, can play catcher. We've seen him be a substitute for Jimmy Obertop a few times this year, along with Casey Buckley. Here's the 1-0 from Reed. And that one's hit into right center field. Over towards Hart, and he will make a catch. As he glides over Flores, he'll decide to take a late stab at third base, and he'll slide in safely. Good speed from Flores, and Rogers will advance the runner over to third. Runners on the corners for the leadoff man, Clark Elliott, and this is what he lives for. Clark Elliott, man, I'll tell you what, 562 with runners in scoring position. There's just something that is different about number 15 when he steps into the box with RISP, runners in scoring position. 5-3 is the lead for the Mastodons over the Wolverines. 1 game set as they travel up from Fort Wayne. Although Elliott 0 for 2. Looking to do some damage, he takes ball 1. So he had to back out of the way a few inches. Wolverines have doubled up the Mastodons in hits this afternoon, 6-3, albeit a 5-3 advantage for Purdue Fort Wayne. The 1-0 to Elliott. And it's taken for a strike. Nice pitch outside part of the plate. Just grabbed the corner. For a team that's 4-22 on the season, Mastodons, they have a lot of motivation coming into this game. You can see their dugout pumped up. The men that are down in the bullpen are pumped up. Here's the 1-1 to Elliott. And instead, he'll check over on the runner at first, Vanner Mortal. Elliott looking to erase this 2-run deficit for Michigan. It's a 5-3 advantage for Purdue Fort Wayne. And this one's popped up left side. Playable for Lang. He's going back towards the wall, and he makes the catch. And a nice range by the third baseman Lang, and Clark Elliott, he's now 0 for 3. The Wolverines strand 2. Nice work by Brendan Reed. And Purdue Fort Wayne, they'll take a 5-3 lead into the 5th inning here from Ray Fisher Stadium on both WCBN Student Radio and BTN+. Almost halfway through this ball game, and what turned out to be a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Temperatures nearing 55. It rained all day. Eventually the sun decided to peek out. Ended up playing ball. This game was supposed to be played at 4 p.m. Got moved back to 6. And a wonderful decision by the athletic department, because now we have almost a summer, late spring afternoon in Ann Arbor. It was Ben Higgins leading things off for the Mastodons. He's seen 2 balls outside, 2-0. Michigan's first reliever, Jake Keyser. There's ball 3. He entered for Walker Cleveland, who went 3 2/3. 2 hits, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. And there's strike 1 from Keyser, although 5 earned runs. And 3 of those runs came when Jake Keyser entered. His first pitch was launched in the left. And it was a double by Jarrett Bickel that scored 3. And there's a big swing and a miss. Almost out of his shoes goes Higgins. And that's exactly what has put us at a 5-3 ball game with Purdue Fort Wayne leading the Wolverines. And this one skied towards the right field line. The first baseman, Vanner Mortal, sits under it, makes the grab. And there is one gone here in the top of the 5th. Higgins now 0 for 3 on the day. Here's Kade Fitzpatrick. He led things off in the long 4th inning. The Mastodons, they almost batted all the way around. They got a walk, a pop out, walk, pop out. Single, walk, double, and then eventually struck out to win the inning. There's foul ball off the bat of Fitzpatrick, the catcher. No balls, 1 strike against Jake Keyser. Michigan still doubling up Purdue Fort Wayne and hit 6-3. And there is strike number 2, outside part of the plate, a beautifully placed pitch by Keyser. Michigan sitting in the shift. Fry, Bertram, and Burton all on the left side of the infield, leaving Vanner Mortal all alone, and it works. This one's popped up left side. The shortstop, Bertram, running out of room, and he cannot make the catch, as the sun may have played a factor there. And I tell you what, that sun is certainly playing a factor. It's on the right field side in foul territory, but ever since it has peeked its way out from the clouds, it has been shining bright down on Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. The shadows have almost fully overtaken right field. It's now covering half of center and 1/4 of left. All from the wall coming in. The 0-2 is lined sharply and foul. The wonderful 380 average stayed the same throughout the 4th inning AB for Kade Fitzpatrick. We're here in the 5th. As he walked, here's a ground ball left side. Fry deep, has to make a long throw, and it's there in time. A wonderful throw by Matt Fry, and that's the 2nd out of the inning.
Center fielder, number 16, Garrett Lake.
Jake Keyser looking to put the Mastodons down in 1-2-3 order. Here's Garrett Lake. He's 0 for 2. Struck out in the 2nd. And he'll pop one out of play behind home plate. And he actually popped out to the pitcher, Walker Cleveland, on a bunt attempt in the 4th inning. Here's the 0-1 from Keyser. Swung on and missed. Man, that is a beautiful breaking ball outside part of the plate. Lake seemed a bit dazed and confused while swinging through that pitch. Nice change of speed and velocity from Keyser. This one's popped up behind home plate. And it'll come straight back to the booth. No balls and 2 strikes. Keyser, although a freshman, he can pound that fastball into the zone. On 89, 90, 91. And there's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that misses just off the plate. About a 1.5's width off. 7.71 ERA, no decisions. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball, strike 3. Beautiful pitch right past the swinging bat of the center fielder, Garrett Lake. And that'll end the top of the 5th. 1-2-3 for the Wolverines. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning with Purdue Fort Wayne leading 5-3 here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. We are back from Ray Fisher Stadium, bottom of the fifth action. We are halfway through this midweek matchup between Purdue-Fort Wayne and Michigan. 5-3 is the lead for the Mastodons. It's Michigan's 2, 3, and 4 batters coming to the plate. Joe Stort, he's 2 for 2, waves and misses at a nice breaking ball off the arm of Brendan Reed. Reed on the season, 11 innings pitched, 11 hits, 11 earned runs. And that's a result of a 9 even ERA as Stort lifts one into center. Coming in at first is Lake, and he'll retreat back to the track in the wall, and it's off the wall. And into second base goes Joe Stort. He's now 3 for 3 on the afternoon. And I will have to correct myself. He is 2 for 3 now, as it was later changed his third inning hit into an error. So now Joe Stort officially 2 for 3 on the afternoon, but a nice piece of hitting. It just seemed like a little blooper in the center from my angle, and it ended up carrying all the way past the center fielder Lake off the wall, and Lake thought it was gone. He kind of stopped playing it, and so did Joe Stort. He found his way into second for a double, and here's a line drive towards the shortstop, Bickel. He makes a nice jumping grab, and down goes Ted Burton on a nice hit line drive, although it's an out.
Third baseman number 24, Matt Fry.
So if you are keeping score at home, the error in the third inning went to the second baseman Irby. One error now tapped to both teams. Here's Matt Fry for Michigan. The big left-hander looking for potentially home run number 6 on the year. And he takes strike 1 from Reed. .257 average for the graduate transfer from Davidson. His fellow Wolverine graduate transferee, Joe Stort, standing at second. Stort, of course, from Michigan State, Fry from Davidson. If you can peek into the camera and into left center field, the Wolverines currently playing Michigan State in softball, a big rivalry at Alumni Field. That game time was slated for 6 as Fry takes a ball in the dirt. If you're looking for play-by-play coverage from WCBN, check out WCBN's channel number 1 for Michigan, Michigan State in softball, or stick with me for Michigan and Purdue-Fort Wayne. Of course, on BTN Plus also. That's a big leadoff for Joe Stort, and there's a line drive towards Bickel again, and he makes the catch. Back-to-back line drive out to the shortstop, and that'll bring up Jimmy Obertop. And he'll be looking to change his struggles. Obertop now 6 consecutive strikeouts. I mentioned he's got a lot of power in that right-handed batter's box. And truly, for me, I think an MLB future for this kid. On 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Just needs a break out of the strikeout slump. First pitch from Reed is outside. Stort, he'll stay at second base, although the catcher, Fitzpatrick, lost it for a moment. All the way back to the script N in Michigan behind home plate. Purdue-Fort Wayne, a 5-3 lead, courtesy of a Jarrett Bickel 3 RBI double in the 4th inning off the arm of Jake Keyser, his first pitch out of the bullpen. The 1-0. Line back to the screen. Big swing from Obertop. And Fitzpatrick will now go and have a conversation with his pitcher. ERA slowly winding down for Reed. Was at 9 entering this inning. It's now down to 8.49. So that just shows you with limited appearances on the hill how fast your ERA can change. 1 ball and 1 strike to Michigan's catcher Overtop. And that one will plunk him right in the middle of the back. It certainly got away from Reed. It was a breaking ball. And down to first base goes Overtop. And here is Riley Bertram. He's 0 for 2 today. And maybe that's all Overtop needs to potentially break out of his slump that he's been in. Just to reach base. That's a hit by pitch. As I mentioned, that strikeout slump for Overtop now over as he's hit by a pitch. Wolverines have runners on first and second base. Lots of speed in Joe Stort at second. Overtop with decent speed himself over at first. Riley Bertram in the batter's box. The Wolverine lefty against the Mastodon righty. And there's ball 1. Fitzpatrick had to pick it out of the dirt. Tito Flores, 2 singles, is on deck. The 7 and 8 hitters for the Wolverines today are 4 for 4. Flores and Van Remortel. The 1-0 to Bertram right down the middle. Nice backdoor breaking ball from Reed. And that evens up the count now at 1-1. A hit pretty much anywhere in the outfield should score Joe Stort from second. Here's the 1-1. That one's in the dirt. Now, I'll tell you what, Fitzpatrick has done a great job. Both catchers really have done a great job today behind home plate. Eating up a couple of different pitches that have landed in the dirt off the arms of the 5 different pitchers we've seen today. The first reliever for Purdue Fort Wayne, Jacob Meyer, book closed at 1 1/3. No hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Here's the 2-1. And that one's fouled off, right off home plate. Now at 2-2, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Score 5-3, Purdue Fort Wayne in front. Michigan lost 3 of their last 4. Purdue Fort Wayne, 5 of their last 6. Wolverines 3-3 in Big Ten Conference play. And Purdue Fort Wayne 2-7 in the Horizon League. Here's the 2-2. And there's a ball. It's right past Bertram and right past the catcher Fitzpatrick. So, of course, right on cue as I just compliment the catchers. That was a tough one for Fitzpatrick to get over to. Runners advance to second and third base. And the count is now full. This is a big pitch up coming to Riley Bertram, who's 0 for 2. Got a full count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. A 2-run lead for Purdue Fort Wayne. Reed into his set. The 3-2. Swung and fouled away again. A very light crowd on hand today from Ray Fisher Stadium. In this place, it can certainly fill up over the weekends. Some pretty good crowds for the Iowa games. Good crowd for the Dayton opening series. And you can bet there will be a really nice crowd for Cal State Fullerton this weekend and Ohio State in 2 weekends. The 3-2. Ball 4, bases loaded. So here is Tito Flores. There is action down in the bullpen for Purdue Fort Wayne. Michigan came up empty-handed in their 1 matchup midweek last week against Oakland. And that's another Horizon League school. Purdue Fort Wayne played them in a 3-game set 2 weekends ago. They beat Oakland once. Lost 2 of 3 in that series. Here's Tito Flores. First pitch from Reed. Popped up right side. Should be easily playable for the right fielder, Hart. And he comes on, makes the catch. First pitch swinging, down goes Tito Flores. And that ends a bases-loaded threat. 3 left on base for the Wolverines. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Purdue Fort Wayne, a 5-3 lead, looking for just their 5th win of the season. Third arm of the game for the Wolverines. They call on the graduate student from Thornton, Illinois, Angelo Smith. Smith on the year, a 1-0 record, 9 innings pitched. He's allowed 12 hits, 5 earned runs, 6 walks, struck out 10, and a 5 even ERA with a whip of 2 even ERA. He'll face off against the bottom half of the order for Purdue Fort Wayne. Leading it off is Isaiah Hart. First pitch swinging and a chopper towards the left side. The shortstop Bertram on a 2-hop big bounce gets him over at first base. A nice stretch by Van Remortel. And there's one gone here in the top of the 6th. Purdue Fort Wayne holding a 5-3 lead. It's safe to say this would be an upset from Purdue Fort Wayne. 4-22 on the season. Michigan at 14-13. There's Alex Evenson. He pops one out of play back towards Yost Ice Arena. And speaking of old Yost, the Wolverines hockey team will be in action in the Frozen Four. Tomorrow night they'll play against one-seeded Denver. Wolverine shift is in action. There's ball number 1 to Evenson. The shift is in play for the Wolverines. Matt Fry all alone on the left side. Bertram, Burton, and Van Mortel join hands on the right. And there's ball 2, fastball low and outside from Angelo. Smaller frame, 5'9", lefty. Throws from a 3/4 arm slot, side winder a little bit. And there's ball number 3. Missed a little outside again to Evenson. Knees bent a bit. Hands above the ear for Evenson. And he slaps one to the left. That sends Rogers into the run. And he's down towards the wall, and it bounces into the bullpen. This is a ground rule double. And Rogers, he almost got to it on a dive. And this third base umpire, yes, that's the third base umpire, Thomas Newport, says that he's got to return to second base. And I think for a moment that Evenson thought that one was a homer. But Rogers, he missed that by just a couple of inches. It bounced off the turf, off the wall, and into the bullpen over towards Avery Goldensoft, who's currently warming up for the Wolverines. Here's Luke Miles, the designated hitter. And there's strike 1. Singleton scored in the 4th in that 4-run 4th inning that was capped by Jared Bickel's 3 RBI double. The 0-1. Nice breaking ball. It just floated through the strike zone for Smith. He's ahead 0-2 to Miles, who is 1 for 2 today. The 0-2 from Smith. And that is a sharp ground ball right side. That'll score the run. Miles will make his way to second. In to score as Evenson, and sliding safely is Miles. It's a 1-out RBI double, back-to-back doubles like that for the Mastodons, and they increase their lead 6-3 now.
Second baseman, number 12, Brian Irby.
Now here's the 9-hole hitter, Brian Irby, with a 6-3 advantage. As Goldensoft will quickly get warmed for the Wolverines now down in that bullpen. He squares to bunt, pulls it back though, strike 1. The curveball just, man, it backdoored straight through that strike zone. That breaking ball is a wonderful pitch from Angelo Smith. From our perspective here in the booth, works well off that left side of the rubber. And the 0-1 pops off the glove of Obertop. He had to come out of his crouch real quick. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball got past the catcher. And now the runner is over at third in Luke Miles. For it to be a sacrifice, Irby would have to hit it pretty deep into the outfield. There's a foul ball down the right field line, and Clark Elliott will end up asking his second baseman, Ted Burton, to go and grab that baseball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Mastodon second baseman Brian Irby. Smith comes set for the 1-2. Ball 2, just off the plate. Smith went back to the fastball and missed by probably a quarter of a ball's width off over top. A great frame. Infield just about in. The 2-2 is fouled away. Certainly not what Eric Bakich and Steve Merriman wanted out of the bullpen, that is, for Angelo Smith. 2-2, swung on and missed. Strikeout number 1 for Angelo, and the 4th total strikeout for Wolverine pitching this afternoon. Here's the leadoff man, Jared Bickel, with an RBI opportunity. He's 1 for 3, but the biggest hit so far of the game, the double that drove in 3 runs. He has a runner at third here. A backdoor breaking ball just clips the high and upper part of the zone, the outer part of the plate. Two outs here in the 6th, 6-3 advantage for Purdue Fort Wayne. There's a foul ball down the right field line and into the Purdue Fort Wayne bullpen. Smith is ahead 0-2, and this would be a big out to get. Of course, every run seems to be coming at a stretch for the Wolverines at this part of the season. The 0-2 swung on and missed. A beautiful breaking ball. Overtop's got to throw down to first base, and he gets Bickel. And 2 consecutive strikeouts gets Angelo Smith away from danger of allowing 2 runs in the inning. But Purdue Fort Wayne grabs 1 more, and they'll increase their lead to 6-3 here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor on both BTN Plus and WCBN FM Ann Arbor. We welcome you back to Ray Fisher Stadium. A 6-3 advantage for the Mastodons of Purdue Fort Wayne over Michigan, looking for just their 5th victory of the season. Compared to Michigan's 14-13 record, Purdue Fort Wayne enters at 4-22. Here's Jack Vandermortel, who's 2 for 2 to lead off the Wolverines, and a bouncing ball rolls foul. A new pitcher in the game for the Mastodons, it's Kevin Fee. And that closes the book now on Brendan Reed. 2 innings pitched. He allowed 3 hits, walked 1, but did not allow an earned run, left the bases loaded in the 5th inning for Michigan. And it's 8-9-1 which Fee will face off against. He's ahead 0-1 against Vanner Mortal. A bit of a hitched delivery, sees ball 1. Big frame, 6'5", 220 pounds. Hometown of New Albany, Ohio. The 1-1, lifted into right field. And this is Hart. And he ranges over to his left to make an easy grab. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning for the Wolverines.
The left fielder, number 18, is Jordan Rogers.
11th game on the season pitched for Fee. Here's Jordan Rogers for Michigan, 1 for 2 on the day. A high 8.44 ERA for Fee. He misses with ball 1. It seems like his delivery is pretty quick. He works from the stretch. Then he has a little hitch motion in his arm and then delivers from a bit of a sidearm. And the pitch to Rogers just catches the outer part of the plate. Rogers shakes his head no and will settle back in for the 1-1. Fee's gone as deep as 3 innings pitched. That was back on March 20th against Youngstown State, where he allowed 2 hits and 2 earned runs. Struck out 4 in that performance. Swung on and missed. Rogers shifted his feet and missed outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The Wolverines, they still have 11 outs to work with in this game. They trail it by 3. Here's the 1-2 to Rogers. Disposed of, strike 3. First strikeout for the new pitcher, Kevin Fee. Now here's the leadoff man, the lefty, Clark Elliott. Elliott today is 0 for 3. Was 0 for 4 on Sunday against Iowa. And he'll chop 1 foul. He's been really aggressive on first pitch swinging. If Wolverine fans can remember back to their first game of the season down in Arlington in the College Baseball Showcase, State Farm. First pitch swinging, hit a home run against Texas Tech to right field. He's behind 0-1 here. He sees ball 1. An overall exciting time for baseball. Opening day tomorrow in the major leagues. Opening day yesterday in the minors. College baseball, they get started early. Here's the 1-1. Outside. For those Michiganders listening and perhaps Tiger fans, opening day on Friday. I know quite a few people looking forward to seeing the new look Tigers. The 2-1 to Elliott in the left field, down for a base hit. That sends Higgins over, and Elliott almost tries to extend that into extra bases, but he will settle it first. And that breaks an 0 for 7 slump for Clark Elliott. Well, here's Joe Stort. He is 2 for 3. Originally had been marked for 3 for 3 before the hit ended up being turned into an error by the second baseman Irby. And Stort will Baltimore chop 1 foul down the right field line. My good friend here in the booth, cameraman Patrick, just told me Chris Fetter has just walked in, once a coach for the Wolverines. The Tigers, they traveled back yesterday from Lakeland and Tiger Town. And the one-time Michigan pitching coach found a new home in the Tigers organization as the pitching coach for A.J. Hinch. Before the 0-1 pitch, a check over to Clark Elliott from Kevin Fee. Joe Stewart just continues to see that average climb. It's now at 328. The 0-1 to him is outside, 1-1. Even with this, about hitched delivery will continue to say for Kevin Fee. He's floating that fastball in there pretty quickly, a high velocity. That one was the slower of the few we've seen so far, anywhere pretty much between 85 to 88 off the right arm. The 1-1. That one's outside. He sticks within that range. That one was right at 86. The sophomore still has 3 seasons of eligibility with Purdue Fort Wayne. Two balls, 1 strike to Joe Stewart. Pitch from Fee is fouled away. Way in front of it was Joe. He kind of fished at the breaking ball, and that now evens up the count at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th from Ray Fisher Stadium. Purdue Fort Wayne leads 6-3. And another check over to Elliott at first. Elliott certainly a threat to steal a bag. He's stolen 5 of 6 attempts. And the 2-2, bouncing ball left side. Tough play for the third baseman. Lang throws across his body, and he is out at first base. Nice play by the Purdue Fort Wayne third baseman, and a slow walk back to the dugout for the pitcher Kevin Fee, who gets the Wolverines stranding 1 at first base. And Clark Elliott, we head to the 7th inning. 3 more frames to play. 6-3 is the score in favor of Purdue Fort Wayne. We welcome you back into Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. 6-3 advantage for Purdue Fort Wayne over the Wolverines. Here is Jack Lang to lead things off. 2, 3, and 4 for the Mastodons. And first pitch is a ball. Angelo Smith back to the hill for Michigan. Lang a solo shot in the first, got the scoring started in this one. And there is strike 1 just below the knees of Lang. And he asks back to home plate umpire Nathan Thompson. 1-1. Michigan's lefty comes set and delivers. Strike 2, swung on and missed, tipped into the mitt of the catcher Jimmy Obertop. Three outs away from stretching out in Ann Arbor. And that ball is just outside. A 89 mile an hour fastball from Angelo Smith. We'll call it about half a ball's width off the plate. Here's the 2-2. Swung on, missed. Man, what a beautiful pitch and an awkward swing from Jack Lang. He's now struck out in back-to-back ABs. Here's a 3-hole hitter, Ben Higgins. Third strikeout for Angelo Smith. First pitch to Higgins in the dirt, eaten up by Obertop. Higgins 0 for 3. Here's the 1-0 in there for a strike. The sun has finally tucked itself away in foul territory down the right field line. The 1-1. Nice pitch. Inner part of the plate by Smith. Called for strike 2. And every time I get on a broadcast from Ray Fisher Stadium, I just fall in love with the view as there's ball number 2, a curveball that just Smith didn't get over. Evens up the count at 2 now. Alumni Field currently seeing Michigan and Michigan State duke it out in left center. For Michigan softball, Chrysler Center and center field. There's a foul ball back to the screen. We'll stick around at 2-2, and of course, the largest stadium in all of America, the Big House, Michigan Stadium, sitting over in right. You get a bit of everything with the view when you come to a game at Ray Fisher. Curveball misses badly outside. Count is now full at 3-2. Smith looking for his 4th strikeout. And the batter, Ben Higgins, looking for his first appearance on base, the 3-2. Fouled back to the screen again. Michigan still does have a couple of arms getting loose down in the pen. Avery Goldensoft has been up for a while now. And here's a foul ball again. Maybe caught the foot of Higgins. He continues to battle against Angelo Smith. 24 on the pitch count, just 1 1/3 innings pitched through this game for Smith, the third arm used for Eric Bakich. Wolverines in danger to falling to 500 even on the season. Line drive left side foul. And it ricochets and bounces into left. Wolverine defense shifting left on Higgins. The second baseman, Burton, is pretty much almost behind second base. Here's a line drive in the left center field gap. And off one bounce, it's off the wall. Center fielder Stewart will relay it in. There's no one covering second base, and the throw is errantly thrown over to first base. So miscommunication between the middle infielders, Burton and Bertram. That should have been an easy double for Ben Higgins. And perhaps miscommunication between him and the first base coach. And it just ends up as a long single for Ben Higgins. He's now 1 for 4. Now here's the catcher, Kade Fitzpatrick. Cleanup man has one runner on first base. Smith misses outside with the curve. No double plays so far in this game. Michigan, they'll look to turn the first one. Eric Bakich, he's at the top step. The coach for the Wolverines. Here's the 1-0 from Smith. Misses inside. And it looks like if there's going to be a change, it's going to be Avery Goldensoft for Michigan. And before the pitch is thrown, called time by Fitzpatrick, and Steve Merriman, he'll go have a chat with Angelo Smith up on the hill, perhaps to give Goldensoft a bit more time to get loose. Purdue-Fort Wayne leads this one 6-3. They got a solo shot from Jack Lang in the first inning. Then they were scoreless for 2. And then in the 4th inning, a walk, single walk, and then a 3-run double off the bat of the leadoff man, Jarrett Bickel. They went 1-2-3 in the 5th. And then they got another run off Angelo Smith in the 6th, courtesy of a double and then another double. The RBI by Luke Miles. Nathan Thompson, the home plate umpire, will go and break up a long meeting between Merriman and Smith. It's Kade Fitzpatrick ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Although only throwing 1 1/3 of an inning so far, Smith at 34 pitches. Here's the 2-0. Line drive back at Smith. It hit his knee, and in the left field it goes. Jordan Rogers comes on to make the play, and if Eric Bakich needs another excuse to perhaps go and take Smith out of the game, he's reaching at his right knee. And the athletic trainer will make his way onto the field for Angelo Smith. Seems to be okay, but the athletic trainer will pause and now make their way out to the hill, and Eric Bakich will quickly follow. Angelo Smith now doubled over. And that was a hard ground ball that took 1 bounce and rocked the right knee of Angelo Smith. But in the meantime, it's back-to-back singles for the Mastodons. Ben Higgins, the 3-hole hitter, then the cleanup man, Kade Fitzpatrick, has one of his own. Waiting on deck is Garrett Lake, the center fielder. He's 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a pop out on a bunt back to the pitcher. Nathan Thompson, the home plate umpire, will signal to his third base umpire, Thomas Newport, to grab the Wolverine reliever, Avery Goldensoft. We'll take a break as Michigan will go to the pen for their 4th arm. They trail at 6-3 here in the top of the 7th inning from WCBN Ann Arbor and BTN+. After the extended pause due to injury to Angelo Smith, it's a pitching change for the Wolverines. Eric Bakich goes to the pen again. It's Avery Goldensoft, 6'6" freshman from Saginaw. He enters with 2 runners on and 1 out for Purdue Fort Wayne. Garrett Lake, he checked his swing and he went all the way around for strike 1 up and in. Goldensoft, the right-hander, enters with a 7.71 ERA, but a whip of under 2. No decisions on the year. 7 innings pitched. He's allowed 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 Ks. And this pitch goes inside and it hits Lake. And now the bases are loaded for Isaiah Hart.
Right fielder, number 25.
Purdue Fort Wayne has a 6-3 lead over Michigan. They're looking for more runs, has some insurance. Purdue Fort Wayne, a reminder, they come in with a 4-22 record. Michigan at 14-13. The first pitch to Hart, up and out, but he swung straight through it for a strike 1. Goldensoft works from the far left side of the rubber. On the right for him. The 0-1. Popped up center field. The center fielder Stewart comes on. He'll make the catch. And retreating back to third base goes Higgins. Now Goldensoft has a chance to get out of this jam. The base is loaded after he entered on a hit by pitch. Here's Alex Evenson. He doubled in the last inning, which was the 6th. Here in the 7th. No runs scored yet for Purdue Fort Wayne, but Evenson at 1 for 2. Looking to add to his 8 RBI total on the season. There's ball 1 from Goldensoft. Reaches 90 miles an hour on the fastball. Goldensoft comes set. The 1-0. That one's high. 2 balls, no strikes. Evenson was driven in the 6th by Luke Miles, who's currently on deck. Here's the 2-0. Swung on and fouled into the mid of Obertop, 2-1. That was a big pitch for Avery to get back in this count. He does not want to be down 3-0. The 7-batter Evenson, a chance to blow this one open for Purdue Fort Wayne. There's ball 3 just off the plate. Purdue Fort Wayne just 1 pitch away from taking a 4-run lead in Ann Arbor. Here comes the Mastodon dugout. The 3-1. Swung on and missed. Big pitch from Goldensoft. He reached back for an 89-mile-an-hour heater. And this is a big momentum swing for both teams. If Michigan can get off the field and leave the bases loaded for Purdue Fort Wayne, they'll have 3 frames to get back in this one offensively. Here's the 3-2 from Goldensoft. Runners on the move, foul ball. Goldensoft against Evenson. We'll do the 3-2 dance again. 2 outs here in the 7th. Runners on the move again. And it's fouled away. Same spot back towards Yost. Bases are juiced for the Mastodons. 3 balls and 2 strikes. To Alex Evenson, the first baseman for the Mastodons. Here it is. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Down goes Purdue Fort Wayne. And they leave the bases loaded. Still a 6-3 ball game. Avery Goldensoft hits a man and then leaves them loaded after coming on in relief. We head to the stretch. 6-3 Purdue Fort Wayne. Big time pitching by Avery Goldensoft in the top of the 7th inning. Leaves the bases loaded. We still have a 6-3 ball game between Purdue Fort Wayne and Michigan. Ted Burton to lead things off for the Maize and Blue. He sees strike one from Kevin Fee. It's the 4th arm out of the bullpen. The 4th arm total that we've seen, that is, from Purdue Fort Wayne. 3rd arm out of the bullpen. Michael Maduro was their starter. He went 1 2/3. Now 3 earned runs over that time. Here's the 0-1 to Burton, and there for a strike. It's a front door breaking ball, 2 in a row now against Burton. And that's a hard pitch to hit. It enters at the hip and slides through the strike zone. It's 0-2. Burton 0 for 3. The 0-2 was well outside, and it got the better part of the catcher, Fitzpatrick. An awkward slide, an awkward grab on Fee's pitch. Maybe crossed him up a little bit. It's another breaking ball. Burton has a bit of an offset stance, waving that bat. The 1-2. That one's into right field and down. Just a little blooper, lands in front of the right fielder, Hart. And the leadoff man for the Wolverines is on here in the 7th. Here's Matt Fry. The Wolverine lefty is 0 for 3 today. And now out of the dugout comes Doug Schreiber. He takes a look over to the bullpen. And we'll have a chat with Kevin Fee, perhaps an opportunity to give the relief man in the bullpen for the Mastodons just a bit more time. And they will go to the bullpen. Michigan with their leadoff man on over at first base and Ted Burton. Matt Fry will lead things off once the relief pitcher gets in and has his warm-ups. 6-3, Purdue Fort Wayne leads here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor on both WCBN Student Radio and BTN+. Purdue Fort Wayne calls on the 5'10", 180-pound senior from Roanoke, Indiana. It's Justin Miller to the hill now, and with a runner on first base, he's got to face off against the meat of the Wolverine order. 4, 5, and 6. Ted Burton over at first base. It's Matt Fry, and he will lift one into center. Relatively deep, but Lake makes a long run and a catch for the first out. And here's Jimmy Obertop.
The catcher, number 8.
Seasoned ERA of 8.89 for Miller. Over 26 1/3 innings pitched. Allowed 37 hits, 26 earned runs. He's walked 24 and struck out 30. Obertop 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. First pitch he sees just grabs the outer part of the plate, says Nathan Thompson. No balls. One strike to the Wolverine catcher. Ted Burton playing games over at first, and there's ball 1. The Wolverines have been scoreless since the second inning. Currently in the bottom of the 7th, Purdue Fort Wayne holding a 6-3 lead. Thanks to a 4-run fourth and a 3-run double by the leadoff man, Jarrett Bickel. Nice curveball, 12-6 variety that just, falls straight into the strike zone for Miller. And Obertop is behind 1-2. A hit could go a long way for Obertop in this AB. Riley Bertram looms on deck. The 1-2. Fouled away. Hits the plate, hits Obertop, and he still has life. The Maize and Blue still out hitting Purdue Fort Wayne 8-6. But the Mastodons, they've doubled up the score of Michigan 6-3. Looking for their 5th win of the year and threatening to put Michigan at 500 at 14-14. Here's the 1-2. Just outside. Obertop looks at it and decides no. Good decision. We're at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Jimmy Obertop. Here it is. Ball 3. And although only allowing 1 hit in each of his last 2 appearances, one against Oakland, one against Wright State, Miller has walked 5 and then 4. Allowed 3 earned runs against Oakland and 7 unearned runs, 0 earned against Wright State this past weekend. Here's the full count pitch to Obertop. Swung on and fouled back to the screen. Good life for Jimmy. Riley Bertram 0 for 2 looming on deck. Bertram only has 1 homer on the season, and you'll certainly look for a second to tie the game. Runner goes, ball 4. Tying run at the plate for the Wolverines. That's walk number 25 on the season for Justin Miller. They have got another arm getting warm in the bullpen, so it continues to stir for manager Schreiber. 300 even on the season average for Riley Bertram. First pitch to him was a strike. Clips the high and outside part of the strike zone, says Nathan Thompson. And a bit of good work behind the dish, too, by the catcher, Fitzpatrick. Bertram, I mentioned, 0 for 2, a fly out, ground out, and a walk. Tito Flores, he's 2 for 3. He's on deck. The 0-1. Contact back up the middle towards the shortstop, Bickel. Over to Irby, and the throw over to first. And there is no throw. They'll call it an out at second, as on the transition, they were not able to grab it, but Irby, the second baseman, stepped on second base just in time to retire Obertop. So a bit of confusion from the second base umpire, Perry Costello, but a good explanation to us after gives us our answer. Here's Tito Flores with runners on the corners. So no damage done on that contact from Riley Bertram, so a fielder's choice has put him at first. Obertop off the base paths. And at third base is Ted Burton with 2 outs. Flores looks at strike 1 on the curveball. Singled in the second, came around to score, and then singled in the fourth, but was stranded over at third base. He went first pitch swinging with the bases loaded in the 5th inning and flew out to the right fielder, Hart. The 0-1 to Flores with runners on the corners. And it's popped up foul. Another curveball. It just landed in the strike zone, and Flores had to do all he could to get a piece of it. Van Remortel, who's also 0 for 2, he's on deck. 3-run game, runners on the corners. Flores tied for the team lead in home runs at the plate. Miller, the lefty, against Flores, the righty. The 0-2. Curveball, strike 3. Swinging down goes Tito Flores, and a fist pump from almost every single player in the Mastodon dugout. Mastodons, they leave 3 on in the 7th. The Wolverines leave 2. 2 frames left to play, and I'm sure this one's far from over in Ann Arbor. On both WCBN Student Radio and BTN Plus, 6-3, Purdue Fort Wayne. The designated hitter, Luke Miles, will get it started off, and a line drive back to the screen is strike 1. Avery Goldensoft back to the hill for Michigan into his windup. And this one's popped up. Playable for the shortstop, Bertram. He calls off Burton. And the middle infielders make this play. 1 gone in the top of the 8th inning. Purdue Fort Wayne leads this one 6-3. In this lone game midweek matchup between the Big Ten and Horizon League. Here is Irby, fouls one off back to the screen for strike 1. Goldensoft entered in the top of the 7th inning with 2 runners on. He hit the first batter that he saw, Garrett Lake, and then got a shallow fly out against Isaiah Hart. This is strike 2, outside part of the plate to Irby. He's ahead 0-2. And then he struck out Alex Evenson swinging to end the inning. Here's the 0-2. Strike 3, got him looking. And that's the first strikeout looking between both of these clubs today. Disciplined at the plate. And there's the first one, Goldensoft's second strikeout. And first pitch misses from Goldensoft to Jarrett Bickel. 1 for 4, but with by far the biggest hit of the game. 3 RBI double. He checked his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. 1 ball and 1 strike. A pop out and a strikeout have led off this inning for the Mastodons. Here's a ground ball left side. Shortstop Bertram. Long throw over to Vandermortel. 1-2-3 down goes Purdue Fort Wayne. And Michigan, they'll look to get the bats going. They haven't scored since the second inning. It's a 6-3 lead for the Mastodons over the Wolverines here from Ray Fisher. We welcome you back in to Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It is a beautiful night, a bit chilly. Could be worse compared to what it was this morning. A heavy rain, then a drizzle, and then it picked up again. That was just about 30 minutes before first pitch. This game was scheduled for 4 p.m., got pushed back to 6, and we have been just blessed with a beautiful night of baseball. Purdue Fort Wayne leads at 6-3. Here's Jack Vandermortel to get it led off for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's Justin Miller back to the hill for the Mastodons. The 1-0. Curveball in there for a strike. I don't think he's missed with that 12-6 yet. And it's a quick one. It goes from about 76 to 78 off the arm of Miller. Lefty has a lengthy windup, delivers another curveball, and, well, if that's not the jinx, I don't know what is. 2-1. Vandermortel, 2 for 3. He likes these midweek Horizon League matchups. He went 2 for 3 against Oakland last week. 2-1, ground ball left side and foul. And Jack Lang, the Mastodon third baseman, made a nice diving stab at it. Unfortunately, all for none. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes, as that one was called foul. Miller entered with a runner on in the 7th. Got a walk and then a fielder's choice. And eventually struck out the Wolverine designated hitter Tito Flores to end the threat. Here's the 2-2. Curveball, but fouled away. Two balls and 2 strikes. Jack Van der Mortel. As Miller stares in. Here's the 2-2. Strike 3 got him looking. That's a beautiful pitch by Justin Miller. Strikeout number 2 for Miller.
Number 18, Jordan Rogers.
Here's Jordan Rogers, who is 1 for 3. He struck out in his last plate appearance. Miller stares in and delivers. Rogers squared to bunt, but it's called for a strike, and the catcher Fitzpatrick lost the handle of it. The softball crowd makes their way home from Alumni Field over in center. 6-1 victory for the Wolverines over the Michigan State Spartans. The Maze-Out rivalry game for Michigan softball. The 0-1 to Rogers just misses for a ball. Back to that devastating curveball again. Does he come back with it? At 1-1. Yes, he does, but it's a ball. 2-1. Rogers at 1 for 3 today. Michigan down to their final 5 outs, but they have the top of the order looming. Down by 3 here in the bottom of the 8th. And Jordan Rogers calls for time. Justin Miller was 1 step into his windup, but Nathan Thompson grants it. Here's the pitch from Miller, swung on and missed. A big cut from Rogers. Miller went upstairs and Rogers just whiffed on it. 2-2. Miller settles in for the 2-2. In the dirt, ball 3. Michigan's leadoff man Clark Elliott on deck. Purdue Fort Wayne's got a couple of arms still getting loose down in the bullpen. Pretty much ever since Justin Miller took the mound, they've been getting hot. Here's the 3-2. Line down the right field line, foul. Back towards the departing crowd. And that is a danger zone right now for softball fans leaving Alumni Field and for those that are parked down the right field line. There is the 3-2 from Miller to Rogers. Ball 4. Second walk issued by Miller. And a nice AB by Jordan Rogers against Justin Miller. And here comes Clark Elliott, and also here comes Schreiber for Purdue Fort Wayne. And usually when he makes a walkout to the mound, it's to pull a pitcher. And I'll tell you, he hasn't taken a look over towards the bullpen yet. And Miller does not want to give up that baseball. Michigan, they'll have 3 against Cal State Fullerton this weekend, and that is a trip that I'm sure Michigan would love to have reversed. They'd love to be going out to California for a 3-game set. And Purdue Fort Wayne, they will have a Horizon League matchup 3 in Milwaukee over the weekend. Then next week they'll also play another Big Ten foe in Purdue. And they'll stick with Justin Miller. lots of confidence from the Purdue coaching staff to keep him in the game and face off against the Wolverine leadoff hitter, Clark Elliott. Elliott certainly will be looking to make them pay for that. 45 degrees, clear skies now, and a beautiful night in Ann Arbor. Couldn't ask for anything better in baseball in early April. First pitch to Elliott. Curveball that lands just low. And you could almost bet that if Clark Elliott were to find his way on base here, that Justin Miller would be done for the afternoon. One out in the bottom of the eighth. Score is 6-3 Purdue Fort Wayne. The 1-0 to Elliott. Ball two. Kyle Maurer is one of the arms that's stirring in the bullpen for Purdue Fort Wayne. Clark Elliott is 1 for 4. He did single in the 6th. We're here in the 8th. Here's a ground ball right side. Stepping on first is the first baseman, Evenson. And the second baseman, the shortstop, Bickel, missed the hop on the throw. It was a bad throw from Evenson. So the runner will advance to second. And now there will be 2 outs for the 2-hole hitter, Joe Stewart. A decently hit grounder towards the first baseman and a nice glove play by Evenson. And that's error number 2 on the ball game against Purdue Fort Wayne. Clark Elliott is out number 2. So Rogers advances to second on the error by the first baseman, Evenson. And Stewart will take time before Miller's delivery. 4 outs to work with for the Wolverines. They've gotten some good work from Avery Goldensoft of their own and some good bullpen work. Great bullpen work at that for Purdue Fort Wayne. They brought on Jacob Meyer to finish out for Maduro, who allowed all 3 of the earned runs in this game. Meyer, Reed, Fee, and Miller have combined for 0 runs allowed after Maduro exited 1 2/3 innings into the game. 1 ball, no strikes to Joe Stewart. The pitch, curveball backdoor for a strike. One run in the first for both clubs. Michigan had a lead in the second inning, 3-1. 4 runs in the 4th by Purdue Fort Wayne, and then 1 extra in the 6th. Stewart will foul one off of his left leg. He's a bit gimpy getting up. 1-2 now. Stewart, the graduate transfer from Michigan State, looking to come through against his one-time bitter rival. Michigan, after facing off against the Titans from Cal State Fullerton this weekend for 3. The following weekend, they will travel to Lansing. They'll play at Jackson Field, home of the Lansing Lugnuts, for the Friday night game against Sparty. And they'll play 2 at McLean Stadium in East Lansing on the campus of Michigan State, the old home of Joe Stewart. The 1-2 into center field. This one's deep. Lake back to the track, to the wall, and he makes the catch just 2 feet shy of 395. Joe Stewart got a hold of that one almost anywhere else in the ballpark, and that ball's gone. We have 1 frame left here in the 9th. The score is 6-3 Purdue Fort Wayne on both WCBN Student Radio and BTN+. In order for us to have some fireworks here in the 9th inning, the Wolverines, they've called on starter Jacob Denner with a 6.42 ERA and a 3-3 record on the season, pitched in the final game of the Iowa series. They'll have to go straight through the dominant part of the order for Purdue Fort Wayne. It's 2, 3, and 4, starting off with Jack Lang, the third baseman. Solo shot in the first. First pitch from Denner cruises through the strike zone, strike one. Denner, working from the middle of the rubber, unleashes, and this will be strike two as it floats out of play. Right on to the tailgate of a truck down the right field line. I'll tell you what, if you're willing to come to a game at either Alumni Field or Ray Fisher Stadium, you better be ready for the consequences of parking your car down the right field line. No balls, 2 strikes to Jack Lang. Strike three, got him looking. Beautiful pitch. And one batter faced, 1 strikeout for Jacob Denner. Here's the left fielder, Ben Higgins. First pitch to him is a massive wave and a miss. Denner, the 6-foot junior from Gloucester, New Jersey. Left-handed thrower, works very quickly. The 0-1 in there for strike two. Did not have a strikeout against the Hawkeyes this past weekend. 3 1/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. There's strike three, outer corner. Man, oh man, is that great stuff from Jacob Denner. Back-to-back strikeouts looking, in that AB for Ben Higgins, that was under 60 seconds. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, beautiful stuff from Denner. And there is strike one to Kade Fitzpatrick, the catcher. Now hold on, Mr. Denner, let him catch their breath first. No balls, 1 strike to Fitzpatrick. He's 1 for 3 today. There's strike two. He waved it right by him at 90 miles an hour. It's a good thing for Denner. A quick relief appearance out of the bullpen to perhaps give Michigan the spark they need heading into the bottom of the 9th here in Ann Arbor, in what turned out to just be an absolutely gorgeous night for baseball. Line drive left side, foul. Ricochets into left. And that average for Fitzpatrick just gets better and better. 384. And that won't help it. Denner strikes out the side. 2 looking, 1 swinging. We head to the bottom of the 9th, and perhaps a comeback shot for the Wolverines. They trail it by 3 against Purdue Fort Wayne here from Ray Fisher Stadium, both on WCBN Student Radio and BTN+.
Leading off the bottom of the ninth
The last grasp for air for the Wolverines. They trail it by 3 here in the bottom of the 9th inning against Purdue Fort Wayne. The Mastodons, they entered this game at 4-22. Looking for just their 5th win of the season against the team that finished 3rd in the Big Ten last season. Ted Burton leads it off, base hit up the middle. Ted Burton in back-to-back ABs has singles. They're going to need a few more of those, and Matt Fry, he'll get his shot now.
Third baseman number 24, Matt Fry.
He's 0 for 4. He'll look to change that here. And Burton, he's known over at first base for being quite shifty. Cannot afford to be picked off at first. Here's the first pitch to Fry, and that's into center. Going back is Lake, and he'll make the grab. One gone for the Mastodons in the bottom of the 9th. If you're Eric Backish, you'd probably like to see Fry perhaps take an extra pitch or two before taking a cut. Here's Jimmy Obertop. 0 for 2, a hit by pitch and a walk in back-to-back ABs now. First pitch to him is high and outside. Obertop entered this game today on Wednesday with 6 consecutive strikeouts, well 4, including 2 today, putting him at 6. And since has walked twice. And that's strike 1. Just catching the outer part of the plate is Miller. Back out now for his 3rd inning of work. A runner over at first is Ted Burton with 1 out in the 9th. The 1-1. Swung on and missed. A big cut from Obertop. Doesn't need to get all of it. Wolverines trail by 3. He was looking to cut it to 1 with that swing. The once full Alumni Field in left center now eerily empty as Miller comes set for the 1-2. Chopper left side and foul. Barehanded play by Jack Lang. Obertop played a lot of first base. Was slotted in as a designated hitter quite a bit last year. And more of an injury-riddled season for Jimmy. He settles in for the 1-2. Backdoor breaking ball misses. 2-2 now. Runner at first, 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Obertop. Michigan trails by 3. And here's a sharp ground ball, but foul. Finds its way into left. Good life by Obertop. Riley Bertram lurking on deck. Obertop at 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Bertram 0 for 3 with a walk and a fielder's choice. Miller for the 2-2. Ball 3, high and outside. Purdue Fort Wayne, they do still have arms getting warmed up in the bullpen. As I mentioned, ever since Miller entered this game in the 7th, they've been getting loose. Big time pitch right here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out in the 9th. Ted Burton playing some mind games at first. The pitch to Obertop. Fouled away. More life for the Wolverine catcher. will do the tango at 3-2 again with 1 out in the 9th. Strike 3, got him looking. Breaking ball that came from 12 down to 6. And Wolverines, they're down to their last out here on Wednesday night.
Shortstop number 12, Riley Bertram.
And that it's got to be such a hard pitch to pick up for the Wolverine bats. And what a big win this would be for Purdue Fort Wayne. Seen crazier things happen. Then a 3-run comeback in the 9th at the Fish. Riley Bertram at 0 for 3 is the last chance for Michigan. First pitch he sees is that 12-6 that falls for a strike. Two strikes to get for the Mastodons to get to their 5th win of the year and improve to 5-22, trying to drop Michigan to 14-14. The 0-1 is a base hit left side. That's down in front of the left fielder Higgins. And here comes the team's leader in homers, Tito Flores, with 2 runners on, trailing by 3. First base hit of the game for Riley Bertram. And it looks like Justin Miller will be kept in the game for the Mastodons. Runners on first and second. Tito Flores has 7 homers, 270 average on the year, 2 for 4 today. Without an RBI, scored a run in this matchup. He struck out against Miller in his first AB against him. He fouls this one off. There's that curveball again. That's the exact pitch that Flores struck out on in the 7th. Michigan has left at least 1 runner on in each of the last 5 innings. They left 2 on in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, and 2 more in the 7th. That's when Miller entered. He entered after a Ted Burton single, so that was the first time that he had seen Burton. Burton's at second. At first base is Bertram. 2 singles, 2 outs here in the 9th. And this ball's fouled away, 0-2 now. Wolverines down to their final strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Justin Miller pitching to Tito Flores. Flores, the righty. His left foot on a tilt, standing on his toes. The 0-2. Strike 3 got him looking. That's the ball game. Purdue Fort Wayne, they upset Michigan and they get their 5th win on the campaign. A stunning, incredible victory for the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons. They come into Ray Fisher Stadium and Ann Arbor and they shock Michigan. So the Wolverines will have to look forward to a 3-game set against Cal State Fullerton. Typically a dominant threat from the West Coast, having a down year. And Purdue Fort Wayne, they'll head to Milwaukee for a 3-game road set in the Horizon League. The winning pitcher today is Meyer. He improves to 1-4. The losing pitcher is Michigan's Walker Cleveland. He's at 1-2. And the save, a 3-inning save by Justin Miller. Game time under 3 hours. Purdue Fort Wayne wins 6-3. Michigan out hits them 11-7. But Purdue Fort Wayne edged the Wolverines 2-1 in errors. And that's the final score. Wolverines down 14-14. Purdue Fort Wayne at 5-22. A great game from both sides, and I'm sure a lot more baseball. Everyone, enjoy opening day in the MLB and continue to tag along with collegiate baseball. Final score again, Purdue Fort Wayne 6, Michigan 3. For the WCBN Ann Arbor student radio attendance, of course it's Go Blue, and to BTN Plus, let's say we'll see you next time from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor.